Today I'll be talking about episodes 77 through 79 of RuYi's Royal Love. It's been 2 months since the incident with Yooncha's wife, and no one has any idea what happened to Yooncha. Rumors abound about him leaving to become a monk, being exiled for stealing, etc., but the truth is far, far worse. Creepy eunuch comes to deliver some gifts to RuYi from the emperor. Along with the material gifts, he gives her a new servant as well.
皇上赐凌云彻为义坤宫太监，即日起入仕皇后，还请娘娘欢喜笑纳。
What the f***? F*** this emperor, f*** this creepy eunuch, f*** this whole situation, and also f*** this drama for making me cry like this.
请您不要为奴才难过。若是此举能够消了皇上的心中怒火，去保全娘娘，奴才心甘情愿。您就当我是这宫里的一根柱子，一个摆设，无关痛痒，不许理会。
The emperor comes to RuYi's palace for the first time in over a year to make her even more miserable. They sit down for dinner and every dish is something she hates or is allergic to. Childish, evil little troll.
皇后怎么不动筷子？是不是还要人伺候啊？
He calls Yooncha in to serve her, and when she has a hard time eating the food, he blames it on Yooncha's poor service and has him punished.
皇后啊，你也不必为一个奴才生气。今夜就留下来陪你过夜。
What are you getting out of this? What do you want?
是。
And then the cherry on top of the shit cake is Yenwon. Do you think I give a f*** how Yenwon feels about this? Do you think in the midst of all this I was wondering, I wonder how Yenwon's dealing with this? She goes to see him, and again I ask why? Hasn't he suffered enough?
奴才，请令妃娘娘安。
你这是奴才，倒自称的顺溜啊。
And then she has the nerve to go and see RuYi and blame her for what happened to him. RuYi rightfully reminds her that all of this is because of her and the creepy eunuch starting those rumors, but Yenwon insists the blame lies at her feet.
若不是你，引得凌云彻为你动了情，他如何会背弃我？如何会引得皇上疑心和怒火，变成这个样子？
At this point, I had to turn off my computer and take a walk. Just done.
我宁愿他死了。
I'd rather you were dead. You know what's even more infuriating? After all of that drama, the emperor eventually did get tired of Rong, and she spends most of her time alone in that ridiculously lavish palace he built her. Rong hears the news about RuYi.
以前我总觉得自己可怜，没想到这里的人都这么可怜。
Amen. To add another pitiful person to the list, 12th Prince is just having the worst childhood. And clearly, no one has taught him how to deal with emotions like this. It's not really his fault that he's handling this so poorly. He literally grew up with Yooncha and has always looked up to him. Between his parents constantly fighting, Crown Prince shenanigans, and now this, Yooncha gives him the hug he so desperately needs. I know RuYi has a lot on her plate, but 12th Prince could really use a parent right now. Rong goes to see the emperor and spits so much truth that I recommend you just go and watch the whole scene.
皇上如此恼怒，说到底是为了自己颜面，还是因为在意皇后？
RuYi wonders if the emperor is finally satisfied.
他都这样了，还不算完吗？
Rongpei, I know, right? The emperor keeps forcing her to eat with him, watch shows with him, sleep with him. It's just so fucking miserable. But yeah, that wasn't enough. He tells RuYi that he has caught someone stealing in her palace, and of course it is Yooncha. Yooncha is sent out of her palace and demoted once again to a sweeping servant. At this point, RuYi isn't even surprised and knows that showing any emotion will only give the emperor what he wants. She plans to wait the emperor out, hoping that he will eventually tire of this and she can have Yooncha sent somewhere to peacefully live out his days. That doesn't mean she doesn't feel anything, though. Yenwon gets pregnant again and safely delivers the 16th prince. I hate that the bad guys in this drama are so fertile. Her son is once again taken away to be raised by the previous emperor's consorts, now dowagers. Though her kids are not all by her side, they are still hers, and now that Yenwon has 3 sons, the odds are good that one of them can be the crown prince. So she begins her attack on RuYi's son, the 12th prince. She has servants put mushrooms in his food that cause hallucinations when eaten in excess. Then they arrange for the empress and Yooncha to be in the same garden at the same time. That sweet little smile when RuYi sees him, but no, Rongpei, don't go, don't leave them alone together. They are so happy to see each other, even like this.
都是我不好，是我连累了你，让你受苦了。
不哭不哭，奴才一点都不哭。
And then, 12th Prince happens across them. He's already starting to hallucinate because of the mushrooms, and Yanwan has made sure that his head is full of rumors about his mom and Yuncha. Yuncha innocently gives RuYi a branch through Rongpei, but 12th Prince sees something else. He runs away and right into the Emperor and Yanwan. There are so many moving parts in this plan, it's kind of ridiculous that they got it timed so perfectly.
说皇后娘娘和小林子抱在一起，然后就发了狂似的跑。
放肆！胡说什么呢？
奴才不敢。
12th Prince is too out of it to refute anything, so Yanwan offers to take him back to her palace to rest up. They quickly feed him something to flush out the toxic mushroom, hiding all the evidence. When he wakes up, after drinking what Yanwan fed him, he doesn't remember seeing or saying anything.
我真不记得了，于娘娘，是我害了霍额娘吗？
Poor kid.
都怪我。
Yuncha is sent to be tortured. Hailan is, as usual, ready to come out swinging and tells RuYi the only way out is to have Yuncha killed under her orders. And this time, I totally do not agree with her. Doesn't that make you seem even more guilty? Like you want him dead so he can't spill about your affair? RuYi is unwilling to even consider it. Instead, she sends her servants to investigate what caused 12th Prince to lose it. After looking into his lunch, RuYi narrows it down to the mushrooms. She still fully intends to save Yuncha, but that's just making the Emperor even angrier, thinking she cares so much about him. Not helping at all is Yanwan, who knows just what to say to play to the Emperor's insecurities and make the situation worse.
她不配做皇后。
Disguised as a maid, Yanwan visits Yuncha, who has clearly been suffering from some really intense torture. I don't understand why she thinks he feels anything but hatred for her.
你还是这么恨我？
Of course, this is your fault.
奴才为何要恨灵妃娘娘？难不成奴才今日不仁不轨，是拜你所赐？
On her way out, he asks her to return the ring he gave her from back when they were considering getting married. She's been wearing it for years and years, still holding on to their relationship.
这个云是我，凌云彻；这燕子是你，魏燕婉。
But since he's about to die, she leaves it for him. Meanwhile, Hailan is still pushing for Yuncha's death. RuYi says this will not solve the actual problem, not to mention 12th Prince will forever think he caused the death of his close friend. She tells Hailan not to do anything rash.
我听姐姐的。
So, Hailan heads off to the prison to do something rash.
本宫是奉了皇后娘娘之命而来的。
是。
She tells the guard she's there under orders from the Empress to meet with Yuncha. He's been expecting her and long came to the same conclusion that Hailan did. Anything that RuYi does to save him is going to make the Emperor suspect her more. They both agree that the only way to make it look like RuYi is innocent is if it seems like she coldly had him killed so he doesn't cause her any more issues. Hailan asks Yuncha to tell her honestly if he loves RuYi.
不知您是否相信，有一种情感是超越男女之情的，很多人都不会相信，但是皇后娘娘懂得，我便足够了。
Doing one last thing for RuYi, he gives Hailan the ring. It's clearly marked with both his name and Yanwan's, and she has been seen wearing it for years. He tells her that she can use it as evidence one day that he and Yanwan were the adulterers. Under Hailan's orders, officially RuYi's, Yuncha is killed. The Emperor gets the news that RuYi ordered Yuncha killed with a painful execution style. To add insult to injury, he orders that he be tossed into a mass grave. Hailan goes to see RuYi and confesses what she did. She's sorry it had to come to this, but she's not sorry that she did it.
在这红墙里边，在我寒冷彻骨的时候，给我温暖的是你和凌云彻。我知道你那么做是为了我，可是你不该这么做。
It's been 3 years and I never recovered from this. Sometimes I'll be going about my day and suddenly think, remember when Yuncha died? And now I'm sad. Just dreadful. RuYi never for a moment considered letting him go. Even with the torture she's going through right now with the Emperor, she had nothing on her mind but saving his life. And of course, there's Yuncha being so willing to die with no anger towards RuYi at all just to keep her safe. Even his last words were about her.
来年你若是来看我，带一枝梅花就好。
It's just such a tragic, painful, unnecessary death, and maybe it wouldn't hurt so much if I could say it did some good. Like, I wish all of this pain was for something, but As for Hailan, what can I say? I think it's clear that even though she puts up a cold front, she was really hurt about sending Yuncha to his death. Though I wonder if a big part of that is really just feeling sad that RuYi will be sad when she hears the news. Hailan is so completely one-track mind when it comes to her dedication to RuYi, and truly, RuYi should have seen it coming. You've been sisters for over 20 years at this point. You know what Hailan is capable of and willing to do when it comes to you. Maybe Hailan was right. Yuncha's fate was sealed with the first twinge of jealousy the Emperor felt, and with all the pain and torture he was going through towards the end, maybe death was the best way out. The point is, we'll never know, because once someone is dead, even the tiniest flicker of hope is snuffed out. And now for a look at the book. I was really nervous to read this part because my heart was already too weak, and I was worried it would be even worse, but it was alright. I mean, it was worse, but not so much so. So Jinzhong presents Yuncha just like he does in the drama, and when they're left alone, they have pretty much the same conversation, just a bit longer. My favorite line that wasn't in the drama is this one. In this place, I stand in the center amongst thousands of people, but you are the only one who sees the tears in my eyes even when I smile. Though you did not share in any of my glory, every time I struggled, it was you who silently supported me. His smile was as soft as the moonlight that streams down during the Mid-Autumn Festival, clear and warm. It's my fortune to be able to do so. I also thank the Empress for finally being willing to say it out loud. So you were actually simply pretending not to notice. The fact that he's trying to lift her spirits with a joke even after all of this, Then, when the Emperor is making RuYi miserable with food and blames Yuncha, RuYi has to send him outside to punish himself. Ling Yuncha walked down to the end of the corridor, raised his hands, and began slapping his face. He struck hard. RuYi and the Emperor chewed carefully, listening to the sounds of the slaps. One slap, another, each of them harder than the last. All the maids and eunuchs in the palace lowered their heads. The dinner was tasteless, like chewing on wax. The Emperor hurriedly put down his chopsticks and said, "That's enough." Ling Yuncha re-entered to give thanks. He had hit himself so hard that his face was severely swollen. Your servant thanks the Emperor and Empress for their grace. As she watched his tall figure bowing and scraping, RuYi felt an uncontrollable burning in her eyes. The spicy food itched her throat, making her choke. She couldn't speak, or didn't have the words to. And then, that night, the Emperor, of course, can't resist torturing Yuncha some more, and calls him into their bedroom to bring him some water, embarrassing both of them. The whole thing with the 12th prince doesn't happen. The Emperor decides to send Yuncha to the torture department for stealing, which is when Yanwan and Hailan visit him. He is just as willing to sacrifice himself for RuYi, and when Hailan asks if he's in love with RuYi, it's not word for word, but the sentiment is the same. He says, "Some feelings start from the attraction between a man and a woman, but end up being something more." Hailan is actually tortured about sending him to his death. She can see how much he loves her, and how can you not feel for someone willing to give everything to protect the most important person in your life? Yuncha is killed by covering his face with paper and pouring water over it, so pretty much a slow drowning. It's awful. RuYi is just completely burned out at this point, and when Hailan tells her, she barely has a reaction. In fact, she says, "Such an insignificant person. Since it's done, let it be done," and laughs. She doesn't mean it, of course, and Hailan knows she simply can't handle her emotions right now. When RuYi says Hailan and Yuncha are the only ones who ever brought her comfort, Hailan's reaction kind of kills me. Despite the years of affection between us, it turns out that in your heart I am at the same level as him. I don't know whether I should be happy or sad. He has caused you to suffer so much that you might never recover. Sister, She stops when RuYi gives her a look, but it's kind of funny to me that in this moment all she can think is, how dare you put me and him at the same level? This is not the time for jealousy, Hailan. But then again, this is the Hailan who just got done telling her son that he can't even dream of competing with RuYi, so I guess it's not like she's being hypocritical to want to be the only one RuYi cares about. RuYi asks her to go, and even though she's heartbroken beyond words, she just sits by herself and cannot cry. No one else knew, and maybe no one else could understand. The love between the two of them was not the passionate love of youth. He was a tree growing beside her, evergreen leaves and flourishing branches. He had been her shelter from the wind and rain, a place she could stop for a while. But he was gone now, leaving her exposed to the vast world, burnt by the scorching sun, plagued by the wind and snow, drifting alone in the cold rain.